What I like to see time to time in my video games is innovation. Something that I've never seen before. Something that is done in such a way where I feel like I'm witnessing a new genre of gaming unfolding in front of me. Uncharted was such a big hit when it came out because of the cinematic blockbuster pieces in its video games. GTA 3 was the definition of open world games when it released, and Telltale innovated the genre of point and click games. I feel like Davigo could fall into those categories. Maybe not to the degree of success as those games, but I do think that it is the first of its kind to be an actual good game to keep going back to. Davigo, to those who are unaware, is a game where PC players play as knights to fight against a giant who is a person in VR. It's part of a very niche genre of gaming that I like called Asymmetrical VR, which I feel like there has been attempts to do this in the past, but none of them were really actually successful. The only one that I can think of is actually Cards and Tankards, since you are playing with PC people, but also playing with VR people. Like, who the fuck is playing Acorn Attack of the Squirrels? Do you even know that that game existed? If you say yes, you're a fucking liar. Go to the corner, stop lying to me. In this game, as the giant, it is your job to defend yourself and to murder the knights who are trying to kill you. You do this by throwing rocks at them, blocking rockets to absorb their energy so you can send it back at them, pulling objects from the ground to use it on them, ground slamming them, and many other combinations that I probably left out. I would recommend playing with one person and then working your way up, because 4 knights against one giant is just a clusterfuck that gets annoying after a while. I don't think this game was really designed and built for 4 players, but I guess the option for more people is nice for those who want more of a challenge. When it comes to this game, I think it does a good job at balancing the giants with the knights. It feels like the knights are not as overpowered as I thought that they were initially going to be. It's a nice balance in gameplay where I feel like if you made a mistake, it wasn't the fact that the game was being too overpowered, but it was just because you didn't react fast enough to the knight strategies or attacks. There's enough that the giant can do, and there's enough that the knights can do, which makes the shift from one to another not feel like, oh, I have to be the giant, or oh, I have to be the knight. It's just a nicely balanced game in general when it comes to that. As the knights, it is so cool to outmaneuver a giant because it feels like you're actually fighting a boss battle that is being controlled by another player. And it's even as exciting to play as the giant because when you destroy all the players, it makes you feel like you really outmaneuvered and outsmarted your opponents. It's not a situation where it's a defender versus attackers game where you know that as a defender you're fucked no matter what because the game encourages attackers more than the defenders. But in this case, it feels like everyone is having fun and it feels like everyone can win instead of just one side always winning, if you get what I mean. I really do enjoy this game, but I would be wrong if I didn't have at least a few issues with it. I think the main issue that I have with this game is the connection problems. Is Skyworld all over again, or am I having deja vu? 75% of the time, I believe that it just works flawlessly, but once that bad connection hits, oh my god, it's like one of the worst feelings in the world. And it's probably not even your fault, it's probably just somebody else's bad connection. It leads to a lot of people who are playing in VR just canceling the whole entire match, and then you sort of had to play a waiting game, which leads me to another complaint that I have: low amount of players. Now, essentially, this isn't the game's fault, obviously. I'm not going to label this as a dead game and then just walk off and not elaborate. There's a decent amount of players online, which that's pretty good for this game, but at the same time, it is kind of hard to just sort of wait around until a lobby opens up. If you're playing with friends, this won't be an issue, clearly. But to those who are just trying to play this game just by themselves, it may be kind of tricky to find a match, but it doesn't really take that long. Let's move on to the graphics. The graphics are primitive, but they work. I can just say that. They work. I don't mind that it's simplistic to look at, but it would be nice if they could improve them in the future. The UI and how everything is presented looks kind of boring, to be honest. It's functional, but look at this main screen. It's just a Unity backdrop. This is going to be the first impressions of the game, and you choose this? This is straight up ugly. I forgave this in the alpha that I was a part of because it wasn't the full release, but this game is out of its alpha, so why the fuck does it still look like this? Please change your presentation. It means everything when it comes to first impressions. I feel like this game in the future is going to sort of cause this sort of effect where the game is going to become unplayable, because the whole entire concept of the game is that the giant is supposed to be in VR and the knight is supposed to be on PC, like I established. But what happens when the VR players are gone? You remove the giant out of the situation, which, defeats the whole entire point of the game. Can't battle anything. And even if you could, the only people that can actually start a lobby is the people with the VR headsets, which makes sense. How do you preserve this game when it comes to that? Will there be enough knights so that the giants can play, and are there enough people that the giants can fight? I guess it's only a matter of time until we can tell. I feel like a lot of the maps are too big for what the game is, which I feel like they know this because they add like these teleportation methods that you can use, but most of the time it's really finicky. I'll be constantly doing a pulling motion, which you're supposed to do that, but it just does not work most of the time, and it just leaves me just looking so fucking stupid while doing it. The second option, which was legit just added in the middle of me recording this, so I had to delete a bunch of footage, thank you Davigo, it does let you walk around technically, but you sort of had to drag yourself around, and the way that they do it is just extremely backwards to me. So instead of using the exact same button that you would use to throw shit at people and do legit anything else when it comes to grabbing, they decide to put it at the same fucking button where your middle finger is. So not only that, but you also have to keep in mind that, oh, it's not the same button. So it's this constant, oh, I'm not supposed to grab the ground with that button, it's supposed to be this button. And overall, it just makes everything just seem so nauseating. And also it's really hard to put yourself back into the position that you wanted, which can get really tiresome really quick. These two methods of moving is both welcome, but also just convoluted for no reason. Why not just add a basic move with the thumbstick? I feel like it would have just been so much better if they could have just implemented that, but these are the only choices, sadly. I get that this game is built around room scale VR, which respects to them for actually implementing that, but most people don't have the space to actually walk around with, so having this really butchered movement system, it's kind of damaging towards the VR experience. And again, could be a me problem, I don't know, but I just have a personal problem with it. Experiences may vary. And the last thing that I would kind of be annoyed at is the pricing for this game. Now, for the people playing on PC, it doesn't matter because you get to play it for free, yippee! But if you're playing for the Giant, you have to pay $25, which, yet again, I get why they're doing this. The night pass is supposed to be, you know, for the typical person that wants to play this game without a VR headset. I get it. But by introducing this weird pricing model, it sort of makes it look like they're punishing VR players. I don't think that they're doing this on purpose, and they gotta make money somehow. But at that point, why not just go the It Takes Two route, where you just buy the game and then your friend can also play it? At least when you structure it like that, you're not punishing another side. I think spending $25 just to be the Giant is a little fucking excessive, if you ask me. At least lower the price, because you're literally just buying half of a game. Even though I'm shitting on this game a little bit too much than I am praising it, I actually do really enjoy this game. It's fast-paced, it has a unique concept, it's really polished for a new coming studio, it has custom maps which just gives you a unlimited amount of replayability. There's even these cheat codes that you can mess around with that can make the Giant even more powerful, or the Knights more powerful, or make them even weaker. It's a really good and enjoyable game for both parties involved, both VR and PC. I think through some updates and overall quality of life improvements, I think that it will just make this game a overall perfect package. Try it out on PC, it's free for the night players, but if you're in VR, you have to pay $25 for it, and I think that this game is overall pretty good. I'll give this game a 7.5 out of 10. I really do think that you guys should try this game out. Anyway, subscribe if you want to, like if you want to, even comment if you want to. I don't care. You do you, and have a good day.